This video is sponsored by EA. Turning Tides is still a couple months away, but a few of us were invited to join in an early test of the new maps as a part of the DICE Game Changer program. We were given the ability to play on 2 of the new maps, a new game mode, and use some of the new weapons. Similar to DICE's testing of the community map pack for Battlefield 4, the build that we were given access to showed the maps in the very early stages of development. No textures, bare meshes, and an unfinished terrain gave us a good look into the development that goes into these amazing maps that DICE creates. Keep in mind that some aspects of this video are likely to change before the DLC's release in December. This video will give you a first look at the new maps, a few of the new weapons, and a walkthrough of the new game mode called Conquest Assault. The maps that we were able to play on were from the Gallipoli Peninsula, starting with the beach assault on the map of Cape Helles. Lying at the foot of the Gallipoli Peninsula, Cape Helles was the main landing zone for the Anglo-French amphibious operation on April 25, 1915. Under the covering fire of the Royal Navy guns, the British 29th Division was to storm the beach, overcome the stunned Ottoman defenders, and seize the dominating heights of Achi Baba. However, the Ottoman defenders were deeply entrenched in the cliffs and at the top of the hill. Concealed machine guns and artillery from behind the walls of Fort Sed El Bahr opened fire on the landing parties, who were slowed to a crawl by barbed wire and knee-high water. Boats were blown out of the water, and survivors were forced into cover on the far side of the beach. There, a few combat-ready platoons were finally able to establish a front line. Cape Helles features 7 flag points, each with their own advantages. Objective A, located on the beach overlooking the British spawn, features multiple stationary HMGs looking down on the beach. The British will have to land on the beachfront and cross it to secure the beachhead and this flag. Objective Bravo is located slightly up the hill to the northeast from Apples. Its capture point is the Ottoman fortress, which now lies in ruins due to the naval bombardment. This fortress provides excellent cover and acts as an easily defensible area to launch further attacks. Keep a defensive perimeter on this point, as the crumbling towers and walls allow for infiltration from multiple sides. Back over to the northwest from the beachhead lies Sea Flag. The trenches in this area create narrow choke points, as well as giving the flag holders a clear view of the hill below and the beach. Let the assaults clear the trenches, and supports and snipers will have free rein on the enfilade of troops below them. Continuing up the hill from Charlie to the north lies Objective Duff, a small farm turned into a command outpost. The Spring Farm features 2 buildings as well as a network of trenches crossing the fields. The terrain here offers little cover when above the trenches, so be careful. Along the cliffs to the southeastern side of the map is Objective E and F. Both are in close proximity to the other and give the holding team the coastal battery guns. Hills surround this point, so infantry on the point are left vulnerable, but they can retreat inside the bunker. This point and its weapons are the greatest threat to the behemoth on this map, the Dreadnought. The final objective, Golf, lies at the highest point on the map, far to the northeast. Situated on the point is a radio tower and 1 more coastal gun. Named Hill 141, this point is arguably the most difficult for the British forces to capture and hold, but its elevation and lines of sight to the other points makes it a valuable asset. The next map we were testing is called Achi Baba, further up the peninsula from Cape Helles. The heights of Achi Baba Hill dominated the Gallipoli Peninsula and were the prime objectives for the landing allies. The Ottoman defenders had dug in around the village of Krithia and prepared camouflage machine gun and artillery nests. From the heights, the defenders could direct their fire on the landing zones, and every attempt to seize their position would be an uphill struggle against an entrenched defender. For Sir Ian Hamilton, Commander-in-Chief of the Allied Expeditionary Force, the hill with its slope reaching towards the Aegean and the Dardanelles represented the major obstacle in his way to success, and he ordered several infantry attacks to seize the crest. They all failed. The hill remained in Ottoman hands at the cost of several thousand Allied casualties. There are only 5 objectives on this map, with A and E residing in small valleys near the team spawns. These 2 flags are accessible via a few choke points, making for intense ambush situations. Looking at the middle of the map is Charlie. This small outpost is one of the main focal points for the conflict. as the objective is connected to the small canyons that lead to both Alpha and Echo. Controlling this objective is vital to your team's success. Heading out to the outskirts of the map, we find objectives Butters and Duff. Both reside in more open terrain with a few trenches and gentle hills breaking up the line of sights. There is also the ruins of an old fort near Duff, which can provide cover for your advance. These two maps will be available for testing on the CTE as of Tuesday, October 17th. DICE is looking to ensure the balance and enjoyability of the battles. This is the primary objective currently on the CTE, as DICE has stated that they are not focused on the changes to the new weapons or the new game mode. If you do not yet have access to the CTE, you can sign up by going to the More tab in the main menu and selecting the Community Test Environment. Here, you will be given a document that states what the CTE is and how you can help make Battlefield even better. You can also sign up for the CTE on your Battlefield Companion app on your mobile device. Moving on to the weapons, we find some interesting additions. The Assault class now has access to the Steyr M12 P16, a 9mm magazine-fed pistol with an insane rate of fire of 1,200 rounds per minute. This pocket automatico is lethal up close, but you will run the weapon dry in a measly 0.8 seconds. The reload for this weapon takes over 3 seconds, so choose your battles carefully. Next up for the Assault class is the C96 Trench. From what I could tell while testing it, it seemed very similar to the carbine variant from the vehicle class. It did have almost zero recoil, but I'm not quite sure how the weapon will perform as time goes on, and one of the developers said that the weapon was, quote, very unfinished. I would guess, due to the inclusion in the Assault class, that it will be given either a burst or a full automatic mode. Next up was a weapon that I believe Westy predicted first, the Farquhar Hill rifle for the medic. This weapon comes in 2 variants, the stability and the range, with the stability having iron sights versus a red dot sight. I personally enjoyed using the optical variant more than the stability, and the rifle did show good damage, accuracy, and rate of fire. It holds 20 rounds in its very unique drum magazine and is a 3-shot kill at most ranges, similar to most other medic weapons. For the support class, we received the monster LMG, the Browning M1917. This weapon holds 250 rounds and can fire almost 80 rounds without overheating. I'm absolutely ecstatic that this weapon was added, as it has significant historical presence. 2 variants were available in the build that we played, the telescopic and a variant that did not have a name, but I would assume to be the low weight. Where this weapon shines is at longer ranges, as the damage drop-off ends at 35 meters and it holds that damage for the rest of its max engagement range. The Scout class received 2 new sniper rifles, the first of which is a Japanese-made Type 38 Arisaka. This was a standard issue rifle for the Japanese troops from 1906 to 1945, and it did see combat in the First World War. The sweet spot for this rifle is fairly close, from 50 to 75 meters, allowing for this rifle to compete with the Martini Henry for scouts to play aggressively with. The second weapon is the Italian Carcano. Instead of being a designated sniper, this weapon feels more like a carbine, with its max damage right around 75. The Carcano also appears to have a folding bayonet, so I'm wondering if DICE plans to add a function to fix bayonet soon while not in the spawn screen. That could possibly give this weapon an advantage of just flipping the blade out instead of attaching it to a rod or a lug. The only sidearm that was added to this build was a C96 import, and similar to the trench variant from the Assault class, I believe the weapon is not yet finished, as I couldn't discern any differences from it and other C96 pistols. The only gadget to be added to this build was a new breech flat gun for the Assault class. It functions very similar to the AT rocket gun, but appears to have greater splash damage as well as a faster rocket velocity. Some of the other game changers did note that if fired at an aircraft, the round would explode when near the vehicle, so it could be a new infantry anti-air weapon. Moving back to Cape Helles for a moment, let's discuss the new game mode, Conquest Assault. The game mode functions very similar to normal Conquest with a few key differences. At the start of the round, all flags are capped for the Ottoman Empire, and the British forces start with a 250 ticket advantage. Once the round begins, the Ottomans can only spawn on controlled objectives or teammates. meaning that if the British forces are able to capture all objectives, the Ottomans will only be able to spawn on living squad mates, and if the Ottomans are all wiped out, the game will end and the British forces will be victorious. That about wraps it up for the new content on the CTE. Once again, all of this will go live Tuesday, October 17th across all platforms. What new content are you most excited about? What are your thoughts on the new weapons and the new game mode? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I will be bringing more news and content when I can. Thank you all for watching. My name is Shadox, and I hope to see you on the battlefield.